occur around here.
Yeah.
Vaguely recall. Delayed or canceled thousands of airline flights.
Just one, however, has Steve Noviello's mailbox overflowing. And I thought, oh, good, Steve's taking some time off, going on vacay.
We almost didn't make it.
We almost
didn't
did
make
it.
it. All right, good morning to you guys. For those of you who follow me on social media or who tuned into Good Day Saturday recently, well, take a look. You followed along as I live tweeted a nearly 4-hour tarmac delay at DFW. We boarded the plane about 4:45 in the morning. Nice pictures. Didn't take off until almost 8:30. So that has many of you asking about the Department of Transportation's Passenger Bill of Rights, or the 3-hour tarmac rule, designed, of course, to keep customers from being held on the plane for long periods of time. First, a little background. The rule went into effect back in 2010 and states in part that U.S. airlines are prohibited from permitting an aircraft to remain on the tarmac for more than 3 hours without deplaning passengers. It continues by saying carriers are required to provide adequate food and potable drinking water for passengers within 2 hours of the aircraft being delayed, maintaining things like bathrooms and necessary medical attention.
Yeah, so how'd that work for you?
Yeah, so what happened? Because you were there for more than 3 hours, right?
So you would think that there's grounds for a complaint here, right? Well, as with any rule, there are exceptions.
Darn that fine print.
Take a look. The rule is enforceable, but with exceptions allowed for safety or security, or if air traffic control advises the pilot in command that returning to the terminal would disrupt airport operations.
Which
now, first,
would happen no matter what.
right. So first, this is a tarmac rule, not a gate rule. So your plane actually has to have pushed back in order for the clock to start ticking. We also were de-iced, which may or may not fall under the safety exception for the rule, which would also prevent the clock from ticking.
Boy, the airlines sound like they won this little negotiation with the Department of Transportation.
You know, it's very interesting because but you were de-iced, and that happens on the pad, not at the gate. So clearly, we did push back, right? But here's the catch, right? After the de-icing and a bit more of a delay for now and a medical emergency on board, that caused the plane to return to the gate and let someone off. Now, according to the airline spokesperson I chatted with, a gate return resets the clock. According to the DOT, it resets only if everyone on board is given the chance to deplane. We were not.
Which it sounds like the airline may not understand the rule.
It's very interesting because they really kind of don't. And especially with that 2-hour food and water rule, I had no idea that that was even a rule. And we'll take a look what we got here. So we look at this again at who is kind of keeping time. And I can tell you this, not done on our flight, right? The DOT spokesperson tells me it's not just enough to make food and water available to passengers who ask for it, but instead the airline must advise all passengers that it's available.
It's there, but they got to tell you it's there.
Right, and it's their responsibility to say, hey, we do have food and drink on board, we understand. Here's the real killer. They must make announcements every 30 minutes to update the situation. Not done in our case. After more than an hour of sitting in silence, passengers started requesting information updates. Only then were we notified that, guess what? We needed more oxygen for the plane. That detail could also void the entire contract.
Because of the previous medical emergency.
Right, so now it becomes a safety issue. Here's the bottom line, folks. At the end of the day, you are really not entitled to a whole lot here. You can certainly complain, and if you do, you should complain to the DOT, right? You can vent to the airline as well, but the DOT are really the rule enforcers here. But aside from any stories you have heard of any folks on any flight being compensated for any of this, there is no requirement for the DOT to force an airline to actually give a payout to customers.
Really?
Anytime that happens, that's actually as part of a settlement with an airline who is in violation in exchange for a reduced fine for them that they would then give some of that money to passengers. So even if you're sitting on the plane and all of the criteria are met, and it's been more than 3 hours, and you pull back from the gate, and they haven't given you food or water, and they haven't made the announcements, you still might be out of luck. But it's always worth it to take a look. Ouch. All right, check out the DOT's website. There is an easy to fill out form to make any sort of complaint, a link to it, and of course your passenger bill of rights right now on our station website, Fox 4 News.
Sounds like you just can't win.
You know, it's interesting because it made such big headlines back in 2009 when the law was first crafted, and people thought, if I'm on the plane, I'm setting the clock, more than 3 hours, I'm getting a cash payout.
Not
going to happen.
No. Thanks, Noviello.
You got it.